Hello, welcome to Dining with Diabetes. On our agenda today is Cooking with Love, Italian style. I'm Michelle Jackham. I'm a dietitian here at the Diabetes Institute. I am very happy to introduce our chef of the day, Chef Isabella. Isabella has a catering business in town. She's very multifaceted. She does, besides catering, she does personal chefing, personal dinner parties, and she's going to be having her own television show. But today she's all ours, so welcome, Isabella.
Michelle, I am thrilled to be here, so thank you for having me.
Pleasure. We're excited.
Well, today I'm going to teach you my signature marinara sauce. And I will tell you, so many people are so afraid to cook their own marinara sauce, make a fresh tomato sauce. Well, I'm going to show you with what, 5 ingredients or less, that you're going to be able to make the most amazing, healthy sauce that will be the foundation of so many other recipes to come. So we're going to get started. One of the most important ingredients is the garlic, the fresh garlic. All right, and as you can see, I've got a lot of garlic on my table here. That's because that's where the major flavor is going to pull from. So here we go. I'm going to give you some tips right now on how to chop garlic. Watch this. It's very simple. All I want you to do is use the back end of your knife, and you're just going to smash it. It's very, very simple. Now remember, all right, I'm the chef that's going to tell you that it doesn't have to be scientific, okay? Boy, that makes a lot of noise here. Now, maybe if I move it down a little bit and get on the edge, that would help. Now, you see, almost done here. Now, last but not least, now, what we're going to do is we're going to get the kosher salt.
Hold on one second.
Oh.
Now what we're going to do?
Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the kosher salt. Now, guess where it's going? On the top of the garlic. You're going to do this, exactly. What happens is the kosher salt is like the binder. Watch this. Now remember, when you're chopping, I want you to always remember to keep this knuckle and the blade, okay, together. That's going to save those fingers, all right? So watch this. Can you almost hear the salt? It's actually helping you mince the garlic exactly the way we need it. Now, you notice my garlic is not escaping. It's not flying everywhere, and that's what the garlic does. Now, as you can see, I'm not mincing this very small, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. Now, we're going to put some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil to be exact. Now, remember, just a couple of swirls or turnarounds. It's about a 1/4 cup, actually. Oh, the aroma of the olive oil is just incredible already. Now, I'm going to take this garlic, the whole thing, and throw it in there. Can you hear that sizzle? The most important thing is that your heat is not on very high, because we're not going to burn the garlic. If you burn the garlic, it's time to throw it out and start all over again. Is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. Ask me how many times I've burned garlic. Never mind, don't ask me how many times I've burned the garlic. Only because I got sidetracked, I stepped away, and oh my gosh. Guess what? We just start all over again. At this time, the garlic is nice and golden, and I'm going to add the tomatoes. Here we go. Now, these are whole tomatoes. Now, what I've done is I've thrown all the tomatoes in the pan. And if you can smell this. By the way, tomatoes in Italian is pomodoro. Let me hear you say that. Pomodoro. Now, I want to talk to you about something that's very important. You noticed I took all the tomatoes and I put it straight in the pot. I didn't puree them, I didn't chop them, I didn't pulse them, anything like that. Why? Because I'm going to use a tool that I absolutely love in the kitchen, and it's called an immersion blender, and I'm going to show you that momentarily. All right, but if you don't have an immersion blender, you can take these tomatoes and you can put them in a blender. You can put them in a food processor. Guess what? If you don't like them pureed, you can pulse them. You can actually chop them. I want you to do it your way. If you want a nice smooth marinara, put that baby in a blender and puree that whole thing to your heart's content. If you want a nice chunky, I'm going to tell you to use the immersion blender. Now we have a few more ingredients to go into this marinara. Now I'm going to add these beautiful leaves, these basil leaves. I love them. By the way, basil in Italiano is basilico. I love this basil, fresh basil. There's nothing better to me in the herbs family than fresh basil. Now, as you can see, all I did was roll that basil up, just gathered it in my hands, and just cut away, just chop away. Now, again, I'm the chef that's going to say there's no rhyme or reason. Nothing has to be perfect, okay? It's not scientific, because you don't have to be a great chef to make a great meal. But we do need to put this basil in the sauce. Now we're going to put this beautiful basil in that pot where it needs to be. Here we go. Love this fresh basil. Basilico, remember those words, basilico. Add a little bit of crushed red pepper. I'm a woman who loves a kick. If you don't love a kick, use a little less. And guess what? If you don't like pepper at all, don't use it. I want you to learn to make this the way you love it. Last but not least, kosher salt. Just like that. Now remember also, we can always add, we can never take it away. So go easy on that. Now you can see I've still got these beautiful peeled tomatoes. So this is what we call an immersion blender. I use this tool probably as much as I use my food processor. And they do two different things. Well, actually, they both kind of do the same thing. I just love this because of the simplicity of it. I love not having to wash a food processor. And this, you wash 1, 2, 3 underneath the sink. Uno, due, tre, as we say in Italiano. And it is done. But let's go, watch this. Let's get putting this to work. Watch this. How simple this is? Look at this. Oh, Madonna, it smells incredible. As you can see, look at that. You can see the chunks that I love in my marinara sauce. And you're going to notice that my marinara sauce is a light sauce. It's not very heavy. I'm not into heavy sauces, okay? And this marinara you're going to love. This will be your go-to. I can promise you that. As you can see, it is simmering beautifully. It's been simmering for about 30-35 minutes now. It is almost done. But guess what we need to do? Remember I told you every single time, okay? We add ingredients, we actually add another layer of flavor. And the only way to find out if the seasoning is right is to what? Taste it, of course. Us Italians, we sure love to taste food, don't we? It is quite obvious. Never mind. Edit that, Dan. All right? Let's get back to the sauce. Here we go. I'm going to taste this. It's very hot. I love it. It's got a great kick. I can taste the fabulous basil. The wonderful tomatoes, they're not acidic at all. You notice I didn't put a drop of sugar in my sauce, okay? Remember, you want to buy some wonderful whole tomatoes. All right, now this marinara is done. We're just going to turn it off. We're going to let it sit. And this is going to be the recipe for many, many others. The very next thing we're going to do is to make a fabulous chicken cacciatore. Michelle, taste this marinara. Tell me what you think.
Oh, I would love to. Oh, we're doing pasta.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Now, we never even discussed, and this is something that you may want to touch on, all right, is that I did not add any vino, any white wine in this. My original recipe calls for white wine, all right? But also, you know, as you said, many people enjoy the non-alcoholic version. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, when you are cooking with wine and you don't want to cook with alcohol, even though the alcohol does cook off, they do have non-alcoholic wines. I have red, they have white, they have rosé. And I would recommend using those as opposed to what you'll see in the spice aisle that's called a cooking wine, because they tend to be salty.
I'd never use a cooking wine is what I would
but
say.
I would just use a non-alcoholic regular wine. And I actually sometimes use them to thin out a salad dressing, like the Caesar salad dressing or
Oh,
something.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, so they're useful.
They
very
are.
useful.
They really are. But I will tell you, all right, there's nothing like the real thing. All right, so, but you make the decision, because I want you to make this to suit your dietary needs. All right, so remember, this is just the beginning. This is a fabulous marinara. Everyone should have a great marinara in their kitchen every single week, because we're going to build on recipes with this as the base. So the hardest part is done. All right, so remember, next time you need a marinara sauce, you'll know how to make it. Until next time, as I say on my show, vivere bene amici, and that means live well, my friends. Grazie. Ciao.